Hi, I'm Tova with Professor Pincushion. Today I'm going to show you how to do a cover stitch on your sewing machine. The cover stitch is a professional stitch that is commonly used in hems. This stitch can be used in woven or knit fabrics, but because the stitch can be stretched, it makes it ideal for knit garments. With a twin needle, most sewing machines can pull off a great looking cover stitch. Let's go ahead and get started. To do the sewing machine cover stitch, you're going to want to utilize a twin needle. You can see my example here. Now you can pick this up at a regular fabric store. I'm going to use a size 480 for my example, but they come in different widths, meaning the width between the needles, and also different sizes. So you're going to want to use something that's appropriate for your project. You'll see up here it has a single shank, so you put it into your sewing machine just like you would a regular sewing machine needle. To do this stitch, you need to have a machine that at least has a zigzag stitch available. We're not actually doing a zigzag stitch, you just need a machine that's capable of it. For this type of stitch, we will be selecting the straight stitch. I'm going to be utilizing 2 spools of thread for threading the top part of the machine. You're probably going to want to use matching thread colors. I'm going to go ahead and use contrasting, just so it's a little bit easier to see what I'm doing. So I'm going to grab my first spool, and I'm just going to thread my sewing machine as normal, just like I would for any other stitch. I'm going to go through the hook that's above the needle, and then I'm going to thread the left needle. Now it's time to thread with my second spool of thread. And I'm going to be using this extra spool pin that came with my sewing machine. A lot of sewing machines come with this, so if you got this and didn't know what it was, that's what it is. And there's usually some place on your sewing machine to attach it, either on top or on the back or on the front like mine. So I'm going to take my second one, I'm going to slip it on there just like that. And then I'm going to thread it just like I did with my red thread through my machine, but you just want to be careful that you're not actually twisting it up with the red thread. We want to keep them as separate as possible, even though you're putting them through the same spots. For my green thread, I'm not going through this little needle hook. Instead, I'm just going to thread it directly through the right needle. I don't need to do anything special for my bobbin. I'm just going to go ahead and thread it as normal. For my sewing foot, I'm going to go ahead and use a decorative stitch foot, or you can also use a walking foot if it's appropriate for your project. Again, you're going to want to go ahead and select the straight stitch. You can go ahead and do a back stitch as normal, and you may want to practice on some scraps of your fabric. So if you need to adjust the tension for your machine, you can go ahead and do that. If you're doing this with a knit, you don't have to stretch the fabric or anything. Just let it flow underneath your foot naturally. So I'm not stretching it. And you want to, especially when you're doing hems like this, look at the right side of your fabric. So I'm looking at the right side of my project. We're just pretending I'm doing a hem here. So you have the 2 rows of stitches on the right side, and on the back, what's going to happen is the bobbin is kind of zigzagging between the 2 stitches. So it's zigzagging between the red stitch and the green stitch. Here's my example hem that I created. Now what makes it really great for doing this on knit fabrics is because it still has its stretch. That's because of the zigzag that the bobbin does in the back. So this is the front. We have our 2 distinct rows of stitches, and on the back you can see my pink bobbin thread is going between those 2 stitches of the red and the green. And I can always trim off this excess knit fabric just a little bit above that so it looks a little bit better in the back. But this stitch is really ideal for if you're doing hems on a t-shirt or that type of knit fabric. It really gives it a professional look. New tutorials are released weekly, so please subscribe to be notified of the next release. Make sure to check out our other videos and visit ProfessorPincushion.com to view our complete library with well over 200 sewing video tutorials, including our exclusive premium content. Our premium membership is only $5 a month for unlimited access and only available at ProfessorPincushion.com. Also, don't forget to download our mobile app for videos on the go. Thanks for watching.